we expect a two-stop strategy on fuel, though it might be very, very tight to the end. Depends on how quick this race goes! Hello everybody and welcome to the Sim Racing Time Machine. My name is Robin and I do recreate historic racing seasons on this channel using Automobilista 2. And today we are about to start a new season on this channel, and as usual I'll let you, the viewers, vote which season you wanted to see next. And by an overwhelming margin, it was the Le Mans Endurance Series 2005 that you wanted to see next. Now, the content you are about to see in this series is still pretty new to Automobilista 2, only released late in 2025, and together with the Super Tourers of Race Room Racing Experience, this is probably some of the coolest historic racing content that we've seen being released in the last couple of years. First of all, a bit of info on the series we're going to recreate here. The Le Mans Endurance Series is the predecessor of what nowadays is the European Le Mans Series, but whereas today that series is not including the highest prototype category of these days, they still were present here in 2005. Now, next to the Le Mans Endurance Series, there also was the American Le Mans Series, which is a bit of the spiritual predecessor of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship nowadays. But there was no global endurance championship, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans, they were a standalone event that you had to qualify for through various continental events or championships, such as the Le Mans Endurance Series or the American Le Mans Series. And this is where I have to put an asterisk next to the Le Mans Endurance Series 2005 that we're going to do, because what I will be doing here is create a bit of a predecessor of what today is the WEC, or WEC, World Endurance Championship in full. And you see this best by looking at the calendar that we have here. We'll have 4 of the 5 races of the actual Le Mans Endurance Series season of 2005, which is the majority of the calendar. And then there are the 24 Hours of Le Mans that here are part of the actual season as a double points event. And then I also added 2 events of the American Le Mans Series, the season opener today, which is the 12 Hours of Sebring, and then the Petit Le Mans as the season finale. Now, let's talk about the classes and cars competing in this championship. Most of them are actually contenders of the Le Mans Endurance Series 2005, but there is also some LMES entries from that year, as well as Le Mans only entrants, and some entries from previous years, especially in the lower classes, to fill the grid. There are 4 classes: LMP1, LMP2, GT1 and GT2. In LMP1, the ones to beat here are the Audi R8 LMPs, which have won all of the Le Mans races since 2000, with the exception of 2003, but by 2005 the R8s were at the end of their lifespan and others were beginning to catch up. This refers especially to the Courage C60, which will have 2 cars entered by the Courage team itself, which I think is pronounced Courage because it's a French team, but for the sake of, well, the easiness of pronunciation, especially in the context, since I will be talking English here, I will say Courage because it just rolls off the tongue easier for me. I do apologize to anyone speaking French out there. Anyway, 2 of these cars were also slightly modifiedly entered by the Pescarolo team, and they are predicted to be quite the challengers to break Audi's domination. Next to this, there are also 2 privately entered Dallara SP1s, which have also been around for some time by 2005. And yeah, that's it pretty much. As you can see, 2005 was a difficult year for prototype racing, as Audi was the last proper manufacturer left in that class. LMP2 is quite the contrary. As the more privateer-friendly formula, this class traditionally had some more entries. Now, in AMS2, however, there is only one car in the game, which is the Lola B04 40, but still there are two versions of that car, one turbocharged version and one using a naturally aspirated V8, which still catches the spirit of that class quite well, as we'll see 8 single privateer entries compete for glory, 4 of each engine type. Next, there are the 2 GT classes. GT1 sees some of the coolest cars ever raced in my opinion, and even while GT3s have slowly grown on me, they are still a long shot away from these beauties in here. We have 4 different manufacturers entering 2 cars each. Aston Martin DBR9s, which are predicted to be the favorites in that class, but also 2 Corvette C5Rs, which are actually from the 2003 Le Mans 24 Hours, entered by Corvette Racing Gary Pratt. And then there is also 2 Lamborghini Murcielago RGTs by the Japanese Lamborghini Owners Club, and 2 Dodge Vipers entered by Paul Belmondo Racing, a car branded as Chrysler on this side of the ocean, and which was quite near the end of its lifespan in competitive GT racing, since it had been around since the late 90s, then, funnily enough, in the GT2 class. And then GT2 is again pretty much a privateer class with 7 entries so far. More might be added throughout the season if liveries become available. This is a battle of Porsche versus Ferrari in this class, with 4 Porsche 996 RSRs and 3 Ferrari 360 Modenas. Most of these liveries are from LXB from G's Endurance Legends packs, with some of them, especially the prototypes, taken from the Le Mans 2005 skin pack. And as usual, you'll find links to all skin packs used in this series in the links down below, and make sure to show the creators of these beautiful skins some love. So now lastly, before we go racing, there is one last thing to clarify, and this is, who will I be racing as? Well, if you've seen some of my videos already, you know that I like to go for the underdogs, and today is no different, as I will be racing in the number 18 Roll Center Racing Dallara SP1, which was piloted by the Nina X at the 24 Hours of Le Mans 2005, and that name might ring a bell with some Formula 1 fans, as she is the daughter of multiple F1 race winner and Nordschleife expert Jackie X. So our goal this season is take the fight to the Audis, and secondary, try to make Vanina the first female overall winner of Le Mans. So now, let's look at the starting grid for today's race. As already mentioned, the 12 Hours of Sebring. We start near the back of our class, as the SP1 is a bit down on pace, as you are now getting another good look at the competitors. Some names here might sound familiar, and speaking of sound, the cars will be also quite the experience in that regard. For us, this will be the 1.2 hours of Sebring, as time will be accelerated times 10, but we will get the full day-to-night cycle that this race usually has in real life. And as we now see the last cars in GT2 and how they will line up, it is time to go racing on the bumps of Sebring. Well, and here we are, coming around Sunset Bend, as the sun is still on the rise right now. It's 10 o'clock in the morning as we start this race. Green flags out, and immediately I think we've jumped someone. Might have been our teammate. Yes, it's Michael Krummen, the second Roll Center Racing Dallara, but we are taking a wider line into turn 1, and alongside and past he goes again. So now we are all going single fine through this first technical bit, but then towards the hairpin there is a longer straight run, but we are quite far behind now from our teammates. Of course, the Dallara SP1, the underdog car, as I already said, in that LMP1 class, but it is also, in my opinion, the ugliest of all of the cars in LMP1, so yeah, it's good that we sit in it, so we will have to look at it from the outside much less. As we dive down the inside of our teammate to get back into P9 that we had at the start. And now we are looking at the rear of one of the Pescarolos. Of course, there is only the Courage C60 in Automobilista 2, but there are liveries of the Pescarolo team, which was listed as its own car, the Pescarolo C60, but it was based on the Courage C60, so yeah, we will have that team here as well, and they were the challengers. They even scored, or they even started from pole at Le Mans and beat the Audi R8s to pole there, so they are tipped to possibly be the Audi beaters that season. Well, as we go through Sunset Bend for the first time at racing speed, this is already the first lap gone. We expect a two-stop strategy on fuel, though it might be very, very tight to the end. Depends on how quick this race goes, as this race almost gets to a hole there into turn 1. There was a spin for one of the Audi R8s. I think it was Alan McNeish that we just passed, and there is Michael Krumm again, but we just avoided slamming into the rear wing of Sohail Ayari in the number 17 Pescarolo ahead of us. Side by side we go with our teammate towards the hairpin, but that was a scary, scary moment just at the beginning of the second lap of this race that will still hang on for 72 more minutes as we make it past Ayari with quite the late move. They were all pretty slow, tripping over each other going into the hairpin, and here is the situation. So it's an Audi 1, 2, 3. Lehto from McNeish, from Christensen, and then 3 wide they go. Oh! Collard even tries to get round the outside, then switches to the inside, and well, he spins Alan McNeish round. So, of course, this is one way to beat the Audis for Pescarolo, but yeah, I guess I will take that position. So we are now up to P7, having made 2 moves on the road, and well, one by McNeish spinning round. And ahead of us is the next Audi R8, the French-entered Audi by PlayStation Team Orica. And what we can already see here, and we were already able to see that on the approach to Sunset Bend, the Audis do struggle in a straight line, so the Courages and also the Delara is much quicker, but then here when it gets a bit more technical, this is where the R8 has the advantage. So yeah, this will be something that we will be able to watch throughout the season. Fuel mileage, well, we will find out. And overall pace, of course, over a lap. But right now, we can at least stick with that Audi here. And we made that move quite easily, and then into Sunset Bend there is a double waved yellow flag, and we see the reason here on the inside. One of the GT2 Porsches facing the wrong way, but he's pretty much behind the wall there. I can already tell you this double yellow flag would not disappear till the end of the race. The Audi was just parked there, but he was pretty much out of harm's way there. But still, the double yellow flag was waved throughout at Sunset Bend. We're currently sitting in P6, which is very good news. The top 8 score points, so only P9 and 10 will go empty-handed. So we're doing quite well at the moment. The car ahead now is the number 12 Courage of Alexander Frey, Swiss driver in the French team. Down the inside we tried to go, but... Ooh, I thought he was holding on round the outside, but he did catch a bit of grass there on the exit, and that is us up to P5. So in the first 10 minutes of this race, we have made incredible progress, and we would not stop there. We were set in that P5 for a bit, and this is now when we will hit the first bit of traffic, and seeing as this is a multi-class race and we are in the highest class, the first time actually on this channel in a multi-class race. We did IMSA, but we did that in the GTD class, or GTD Pro class, where we were among the slowest cars. This time it's the other way around, and that traffic here that we will now have to manage throughout this race, throughout the season pretty much. Just 15 minutes without any lapped cars. Yeah, this brought us actually closer to the next two Audi R8s, which is actually incredible, because that means first and second are currently the Pescarolo of Collar and the Courage, the number 13 Courage, the other car entered by that team. And we were even getting closer to the Audis. The car ahead now is JJ Lehto, the real winner of this race, and who started from pole, but round the outside into turn 1 we see an opening. We even have a look round Tom Christensen, the record winner at Le Mans. But again, here in this rather technical bit, we cannot make that move stick, and Lehto retakes P4. But in this first stint, we can be really, really happy with our pace. And as you can see, bottom right, fuel getting less and less, so the first round of pit stops might not be too far away. But for now, we're trying to fight the Audis on track. Pit stops can make a huge difference, of course. Side by side with Lehto, again we go. Can we make it stick this time? It looks much more promising, but this time he hangs it around the outside. And I think this is the same corner where we made the move on Fry, but Lehto manages to stay within the track limits, doesn't go on the grass, and therefore he retains his position. Oh, and gets a bit messy, and you saw it, I slowed down there because of the double wave yellow flag. It seems like Automobilista doesn't really care about this, if you pass under yellow or double waved yellow, but actually the rules say you have to stay behind and you can't overtake, so I refrain from doing that. Yeah. The AI didn't care, and the Audis almost caused a massive crash there into Sunset Bend. But we stay in position, and we actually see the next 3 cars ahead of us. Jonathan Cochet in the number 13 Courage is there as well, as look at that, Christensen going for a move, trying to get past JJ Lehto, but he catches a bit of the sausage curve there on the inside. That is a very poor exit for the Danish driver, and yeah, we gain a position up to P4, and we will gain 2 more positions because the C60s of Collard and Cochet, they are already in, while we have 1 more lap of fuel on board, and this of course can always be a decider throughout the season. The fuel mileage of the SP1 and especially the R8 seems to be much more efficient. Lehto comes in with us, and you saw him breeze past on our left. Christensen actually had 1 more lap of fuel even in that car, and so did the other Audi, the French Audi of Stéphane Otelli. So he stayed out as well, and this is going to be a very, very long pit stop, almost 1 minute. We're getting a full tank of fuel, new set of tires. They can't be of refueling, and tire change can't be done at the same time, and it looks like the Audi crew did a much better job than our crew, because look at that, ahead of us this is Lecto, and he was really a couple of inches ahead of us before we came in. Well, he has gained a lot. But we have gained a lot by staying out 1 lap longer on Emmanuel Collin, the Pescarolo, who is now just ahead of us. We have cold tires, he will have them up to temperature, but oh, one of the Porsches gets in his way there. I think that is the Zykel Porsche of Horst Felbermeier. We say thank you very much, even though we had to lift a bit there as well, because he was blocking the inside. Oh, if we can get the temps up. Oh, he just managed to get past that Ferrari there of Joe Macari easily. Ah, that is a bit of a shame, because now we lose time here. As they say in endurance racing, traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. And this time it was advantage Collin. But this is good news, because that seems like we have a strategic advantage over the Courages and the Pescarolos. We even gained position on Cochet for Courage Competition, who was in the pits as well. He's behind us now. And you see overall position 60 in class, we're still 5th. So we are now behind a couple of the LMP2 and the GT1 cars, but this is only because they didn't have their first round of pit stops yet. Of course, the cars with less power, a bit less thirsty. And there is one of that GT1 cars. There is one of the Lamborghini Murcielagos. Oh, and look at that! A battle for position as we leave the pits. Ortelli in the Oreca Audi managed to stay ahead of us. This is very interesting. And I didn't think that was possible. But as you see, it is. So the overcut really working well for the Audis. I think we were in P4 before everybody pitted for the first time. We dropped down 1 position overall in class. We gained on Cochet, we lost on Ortelli, and we must have lost on someone else. Of course, Christensen is back out of us, as we are trying to follow Ortelli round and regain that position from the French-entered Audi. And now we are approaching another one of the GT1 cars, which is of course 2 classes below us, but currently ahead on track, because they will only do their first round of pit stops in the next couple of laps. We already gained a couple of positions overall. We're up to 11th, still 5th in class, but now there might be an opportunity, because it looks like Ortelli is really struggling to find a way past the Aston Martin of Pedro Lamy. A name that formerly raced in Formula 1, so we know that one quite well. But he's not giving in easily against Otelli, and this is our opportunity. Again, an Audi caught out by the sausage curb, and we move up one position, and now we're trying to find a way past Lamy, and I think I made it harder for myself than it actually was, because it even looked like he was trying to get out of the way. And now we break past him, but then contact! Lamy hits us on the left rear, and rearwards we go into the wall, and this is where I will stop for this video. We will see how and if I recover from that one next time around, but for now, here is a replay on what actually happened. So here we do pass Otelli, and then this is me making it very hard for myself to get past. I do so now, and now, did I not leave him enough room? I mean, it looks like I'm fully past, and there is more than an Aston Martin of space on the inside. Well, anyway, here is the running order at the time that we just hit the wall. Andy Lally leads, all of the turbocharged LMP2 cars still running at the front because they haven't pitted yet. But then the overall leaders, if you take pit stops into account, are Lehto, Christensen and Collard. Darren Turner, currently the highest placed GT1, still running 8th, also not having pitted yet. And then you have to go on the second page of the current running order to see us. There's Pedro Lamy, P9. Otelli just passed us. We are currently stationary in the wall, but still 11th. And then behind us, it's the rest of the LMP1 class, Cochet, Ayari, Fry, Krum, and Magnish, currently last in LMP1 after that early spin that I think Emmanuel Collard was responsible for. Well, how do we go from here? And is there damage to our car that we need to have fixed? Well, you will find out next week when you will see the second half of the 12 hours of Sebring that is part of our Le Mans Endurance Series 2005. Like if you did enjoy this video and subscribe to not miss the next episode. Until then, goodbye.